Welcome to this Monday night. I've actually rebranded this. It's called the FlipLogic Real Estate Show. I'm hoping to be able to use a lot of screen share in this for you guys, so I can give you guys a better visual as it relates to your deals and your questions. And I think this is going to actually start off to be a really strong one, because I know William is on the call, and I know he's got a live deal in play, so we'll be able to bring that up on screen so everybody's got a good visual of how that plays out. So with that being said, let's just move right into that. So I'm gonna actually undo my screen share pause, and I'm actually gonna move to my browser, which should be here. And then I should be able to move to my dashboard. Can you guys all see my screen okay? If so, maybe throw yes in the chat box. I can see your screen, or mark the yes green check mark, so that way I know that you guys are able to see that okay. Can you guys all see my screen okay? Yes, no? I'm going to assume everybody can see my screen. I'm pretty sure this should be sharing my screen. So I think that should be broadcasting, so you guys should be able to see that okay. All right, with that being said, just to give you guys a little bit of background, my name's Ryan Kirk. I'm a real estate broker. Daphne said yes. Thank you. I'm a real estate broker and real estate investor. I'm the founder of 1-888 Cash Offer, and FlipLogic is something that I had built out and coded specifically for me, because that's how I do my deals every day. And now I've made it available to the masses, so you guys can do deals. And we get together here on the FlipLogic Real Estate Show on Monday nights at 6:30, so that way we can Q&A. And if you guys have any questions or things that you need answers on, or that you're stuck with, or that you need some breakthroughs with, that's what I'm here to help do, and do it live through a screen share should you need it. So what I'd like to do now moving forward is, I actually got a message from William. William's got a live deal, and I'd actually like to bring William off mute, so he and I can actually dialogue back and forth on the question he has on a property or a lead that he is working on. So William, can you hear me? And can we hear you?
I can hear you guys. Can you guys hear me?
Yep, we can all hear you. And if you guys are wondering, just to share a little bit more about myself for those of you who don't know me, I'm on my boat. This is where I live. It's where I work. I've actually been what's called a liveaboard now for about a year. So it's pretty cool. My folks actually introduced me to the lifestyle. A lot of people ask me, how in the heck did you end up living on a boat? Where'd you get the idea? And I got it from my folks. I got it from my mom. She lives on her boat down in Shelter Island, San Diego. For those of you guys who are familiar with San Diego, I was actually doing a rehab in East County, San Diego, and I said, Mom, hey, I'd like to be on the job site for this one, because we're filming a show, a pilot. You guys may or may not have seen it, called Bank Your House. It's on my YouTube channel. And I said, hey, I need a place to crash for, a couple of weeks while we do the project. Is it okay if I sleep on the boat? And she said, yeah, of course. So that's kind of like where I got my introduction to the boat life, to the liveaboard life, because I literally lived on that boat for about 30 days, and I thought, you know what, I could do this. This is cool. So it's kind of like minimalist lifestyle. If you guys have heard of that book, there's a book called I think called Minimalism. So this is kind of like minimalism meets boat life. So pretty cool. So if that's something you've ever thought about, it's one way that you can really shrink down your closet, get rid of lots of things. You really can't have a whole lot of things on a boat. This one's actually 55 feet, so I do all right with it, but still, you definitely have to shrink down your lifestyle, which for me is actually refreshing. All right, so with that being said, enough about me. Let's talk about William and his deal. So William, Hit it. What's your question?
All right. So real quick, if you hear background noise, I just got home. I just got my daughter in the bath, and I'm preparing her lunch for tomorrow. So enough of that. So okay, currently the agent reached back out to me, and she's asking to see if we want to move forward with a particular deal that we're working on in the Baldwin Hills area. So we reran the numbers. We're okay with the numbers of where they're at. We just need to know if we have someone who's interested, that we could potentially set an appointment to get out there, because that's where they're at now. They want to see if we can set an appointment to walk the property with our contractor and be able to remove contingencies so they can submit the offer to the seller. So,
Got it.
we're
in other words,
at that point.
what you're saying is that, and this this property's listed, it's on the market, right? There is an agent that you're working with on it.
Correct.
The agent, normally the protocol is run the numbers like what we have, like what you're seeing on our screen in front of us here. It's a almost 2,000 square feet, 7,200 square foot lot, right? If I pull up the comps tab here, I'm going to shrink that. So if I pull up the comps tab here, you guys can see it here. And actually, if I switch this to satellite real quick, you can kind of see that it's on a hill, right? It's got some views.
Yeah.
Is that right, William?
Yeah, that one has the views from, if I'm correct, from the front and the back. The back looks over the Baldwin Hills area.
Okay. So the back looks over the Baldwin Hills area. This is a street view of it. I just did that by clicking on the property marker. So this is it. It's kind of a modern looking house, right? That's kind of cool. It doesn't have a garage, right? It's a carport.
It's a carport.
Carport, that's it there. And what's the story on it? Because on every single deal, you always want to know, before you get into condition and all of that, you want to know what's the story. What's the seller's story on this?
So initially, the lady who stays in the property, the older lady, she's been there for a while. At some point, I'm guessing there was a probate, but right now it's a standard sale. So there's no
Okay.
court confirmation or anything like that. And whatever she, needs to get out ASAP, pretty much by December 10th, to be able to move on to her next situation.
Okay, so she's motivated, right? She wants to close by December 10th. So she wants to close in what's that? Is that 14 days?
About 14 days.
She wants to close in 14 days, which is very doable. From a cash buyer standpoint, a cash buyer can close in about 7 to 10 days. 7 days cash buyers can close in 3 days, but 7 is comfortable for everybody involved, right? Title, escrow, they got to pull all that and, get documents out, get everybody to sign. Seller's got to go in and sign and notarize the grant deed, right? So really 7 to 10 days is very comfortable for a cash buyer to close. 14 is better for us because it gives us a little leeway, because obviously William wants to put it under contract. So then we can market it out to investors, right? Cash buyers, for them to buy. But William, as I know from what we're addressing right now, we're trying to problem solve a little pickle that we're in, right? Yes. Which is the seller or the agent, they've already been in contract before, right? The deal fell out, and now the next offer that they accept, they don't want to do an inspection, a weasel clause period, right? They want to go, they want a non-contingent offer, right?
Yeah. So currently the status is in the first person who was in position submitted an offer that was higher than ours, but they weren't able to perform on the offer that they submitted. So most likely what they came in is they overbid the price. They attempted to get it under contract at a higher price, but when it came time to get their finances together, they weren't able to perform. There is a second person in place, but because the documentation that we submitted with our offer was a lot stronger and presentation was a lot better, then they're willing to jump us from the third position to the first position if we can get our contractor in to walk the property, check out the property, and we're able to remove these ASAP.
Got it. So to give everybody some context on the numbers, we comped it at about 1.25, right? Which is about $650 a foot. If you look at the comps here, you know, we've got two strong comps, which I guess I should have brought up earlier, right? Those are they're within 200 square feet. They're actually within 100 square feet of our subject property square footage, which is 1,925 square feet. And the comps are, you know, 2046 and 2034. Those sold at 1.16 and 135. It would be good to dig into these to know, you know, what the difference was. You know, obviously this one sold for, you know, $200,000 less. So why did this one sell for $200,000 less? And why did this one sell for $200 more? I'm guessing the garage was a factor. Does this one have a garage? This one 1.6. I just wanted to pull this up. I'm going to pull this up just to give all of us some better context on the support for the ARV, because based on the condition of the property, if I scroll over this eye right here, this is just kind of like a little cheat sheet. You'll notice awful in red is 20 to 75 bucks a square foot. You know, basically it needs everything. And this property's dated, it needs about everything. So we're going to go 40 bucks a foot. 75 bucks a foot can usually run into like really high end properties. I don't think this would go 75 bucks a foot. Typically, if it needs everything and it's kind of like a median price property, it's going to be like 40 bucks a foot, which would put this at 77,000. That could be a little light, or it might be right on. It's just a ballpark. Obviously, it's not a bid, right? We're just ballparking. And then our investor who walks in with his contractor, you know, obviously they're going to come up with their final construction number. So, but we would estimate it's going to be pretty close to that, as long as there's no like major structural like hillside stuff. So I wanted to pull up this comp real quick because it had sold for 150,000 less, and I was just curious why that was. If maybe it says it's remodeled. Do you know, William, if this one had any views or not? And I'm just looking at the sold history.
I don't know if that one particularly had views. But the interesting thing about that area is it has its highs and it has its lows. So you can be, you know, maybe 5 feet, 10 feet, and then you have a solid view of like downtown.
Yeah.
Definitely depending on how the house is positioned.
Looks like a flipper bought this too, because they bought it for $825 and they sold it for 1.16 6 months later. So that's probably a flip right there. And I'm gonna do something really cool for everybody that's on the call or on the show here tonight. Before I do that, I just want to take a quick look. How many of you want to see something interesting that I'm about to do? This is one cool way. I'm going to pull this address right now. I'm going to look up all right, you guys are all with me, right? You saw that we just looked at the pricing history on this property. We saw an investor bought it last year for $825 and then it sold in 6 months, right? So that means it's a flip. So that would be a good investor to add to your cash buyers list, right? So how would you add them how would you find out who that cash buyer is to add to your list? Well, I'm going to a little website called Tycor Online Pro, and this is a free site. I get this through my title company. You know, whatever title company you're working with, if you ask to speak with their customer service, you could just call their customer service. Hey, you'd like to get, login and password to pull property profiles. They'll want to know who your title rep is. If you don't have one, they'll look up who it is in your area, and then they'll give you their contact info. So boom, you got a title rep, and then you get login and password info, so you can do something like what I'm about to do right here, 90008. Yeah, go ahead, William.
No, I was saying it's bad because I feel kind of bad because I'm slipping. I should have logged into my title and ran the title on that particular property.
On this one?
Yeah.
All good, man. That's why we're here. So obviously it's not this person, because this is the person who is the end user who owns it now. Right at 1.125. We want to look at the prop history. We want to look at the prior recording. Q Properties LLC, right? Q Properties LLC. This is who bought it for $825. They put some money into it. They put it on the market for $1,099,000 and it sold for 1.16. So if I look up Q Properties LLC, I might be able to see right here. This is them right here. This is their Facebook. So then from here, you could easily shoot them a message and just say, hey, just like what I'm about to do right now. If you guys like this, what I'm doing right now, just like shoot something in the chat box just so I can get some feedback, knowing that this is of value to you guys. And right now, this thing is just loading slow. There it goes. So I can easily just shoot her Q Properties a message. Actually, they've got an email. They've got an email. There's their email, and I can just tell them what property was this. So it was 45. This, and I can just say, I saw you bought, this property. I have a hot one that may be perfect for you. Interested. Obviously, I'll fix my so I'll just say, yep. And that's it. So with that being said, that's a potential buyer right there for your deal. Okay. And if they can't buy that one, maybe I don't know, maybe they've spent, they've got all their money out, they've got properties on the market, they're waiting for some things to sell before they can buy another one, but you can at least connect. And since this is William's deal, I'll even throw you on there. So there's a potential buyer for this one. That they're a buyer because, they just find it here. But what I could do real quickly is just pull it up on Redfin to see if they've got any other photos on it, because I'm just really curious, as far as our ARV goes, why this property sold. And yeah, Redfin's got more photos, but maybe it's lack of view, or maybe it's let's see, they do have a garage, so that's one of them. Yes, for our sub property, it is rehabbed nicely, new vinyl plank wood floor. my countertop at the wine crate. They got all the goodies, right? What is that? It's like a Thermador stove. They have, it looks like some sort of high-end stove, or was it just like KitchenAid? So, all right. So yeah, so it's obviously, we know it's remodeled through and through. What I really wanted to know was what's going on in the backyard. Is it a pool? No pool.
No.
So that's good, because ours doesn't have a pool either. And you'll notice that one didn't have any view. Ours has some view. So that's good. So that's one for us. One for us, minus for them. So are you guys with me so far? I just want to check in with you guys, make sure everybody's on with me. Cool. Dale says ninja stuff. Kenneth, are you promoting any door knocking? Good. So all right. So you guys are getting some good value from this. Door knocking, you know what? I'll leave that. I don't do any door knocking. You know, there's so many different ways that you can drum up leads for deals. We'll touch on that in a second. I want to finish up supporting our ARV on this one, and just to do that, I want to look at the other comp that sold for 135. So ours has a view, right, and that one doesn't. So that's good. And this one sold more recently. That other one sold in June. This one sold in August. So I'm going to have to, no photos on Zillow. So again, we'll throw it in Redfin just to see what the finishes look like on this one and the backyard, but maybe there isn't. So I think we've just got some guesswork there. 1349, right? It resold, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna assume this one's got a view. So anyways, I feel like we priced ours. Well, how come we didn't price it at 135? I mean, this one's a bigger lot, right? Our lot is 7,200. It's 8,500. That's quite a bit larger. This was Don Miguel. No, it was this one here. That one's probably got a view.
Yeah, because that's La Brea, but yeah.
Yeah. And just to give you guys some more context, we did ask the agent what she thought it would resell for, and she did confirm she thought it was anywhere between 1.15 and 1.2s or 2-ish. So, all right. So anyway, so we're gonna go 1, 2. Go ahead.
The unique thing about the agent, she's in the Windsor Hills area. She lives in the Windsor Hills area. And the broker lives in the Baldwin Hills area. So they're very familiar with what has sold,
Okay.
And what just the market goes for in that area.
Got it. All right. Do they feel it's underpriced, or?
I think
Here's the other.
I think that
you
they
think
it's priced well.
Okay.
I think even with the number we came in at, because I know some came in higher, but I think they're confident in like moving forward with that number and thinking like with the work that he needs.
Right. Here's the other thing that's interesting. This is a cosmetic fixer. It's listed for 1.1, and it's been sitting. When I say cosmetic fixer, I mean it looks like it's got vinyl windows, but inside it's just, it's dated. Inside dated, right? Dated kitchen, dated flooring, dated bathrooms, right? So it's going to need everything as well. It doesn't have any views from the backyard there, and they're asking 1.1 as is. So right now, William, let's go back to the analysis. So we put in a support of 125, 650. We put in 2 comps to support that. Right, we put in $40 a foot. We're assuming it's going to need everything, so that gave us 77,000. The system automatically defaults for 4 months holding time. So that's pretty close, depending on what the rehabber does. You can tell from the price history on this rehab. It took these guys, I mean, they bought it in this last December, and it took them 5 months before they even got it back on market. That's more rare. Most rehabbers will they'll rehab it in 60 days. They'll get it on the market, after 60 days, and then it'll take them maybe another 30 days to sell it, maybe another 60, depending. So 4 months on average. So it took these guys 6 months sold to sold, right? 6 months sold to sold. So it is what it is. But 4 months is pretty much standard. Sometimes rehabbers, they just get bogged down if they're doing too many deals. Sometimes they can't turn it quick enough or get to it quick enough. So let me move down the line here. Sorry, I should have turned off my email. So 4 months holding time. And then we just automatically put in a first mortgage. It just defaults for 80% of the purchase and repair costs. So that's assuming somebody's the cash buyer, they're really gonna get a hard money loan, and they're only gonna put 20% down, the equivalent of 20% down to the purchase price, and the equivalent of 20% of the rehab costs. Some rehab lenders out there, they're doing 90 and 100%, meaning you only have to put 10% down of the purchase price, and they'll finance 90% of the purchase price and 100% of the rehab. So it just depends. So I kind of this is defaulted for that, and it just if somebody's coming in to buy it all cash, it's really rare at this price point because everybody wants to leverage their money. Nobody wants to tie up $940,000 on a purchase price and then another $80,000 on rehab, right? They want to leverage. So we typically build that in, and then you can adjust that however you want. But that's how I leave it. And then the system defaults on ARVs over $1 million. It defaults to a 15% ROI, which would put this at $163,000 net rehab profit. Again, notice this says max rehab price. This is the max price that you'd want to pay if you were going to rehab, or a rehabber would want to pay if they're going to rehab. This is just ballpark, of course. So this would really be, I think 922, right? 923 would be an easy sale. We priced it at 12%. Why 12%? Well, it's just an arbitrary number. We're just kind of looking at the numbers. This is still a good return. And this is still, I think we priced it at like 12.5. We priced this at 940.
Yeah, it's at 940.
940, which put the rehab ROI at 13%, net rehab profit 145. Again, you might be saying, well, why these numbers? Again, it's kind of arbitrary. It's just obviously the bigger the profit margin and the bigger the ROI, the bigger your pool of buyers, right? The more buyers who are going to want to buy it because it's more attractive. There's more money in it. But we also have to play that game of, well, we also want to try to, we want to put money in our pockets, still create a good deal, and not have to kick the seller in the nuts. Sorry, I don't know. Kick them in the teeth, kick them in the nuts too hard to where we're not going to be able to get the deal, right? I notice a lot of folks, they'll just lowball properties, and they're always going, hey, I'm never getting any contracts, I'm never doing any deals. It's because they're going in and lowballing everybody. So you do have to be strategic about, not trying to retire off every deal, but come up with a fair number that you think you can sell it at, that you think the max rehab price that a rehabber would want to pay, and then reverse engineer your offer. So we came up with 940, right, for what we want to sell it at. And then it says our initial offer should be 822. Obviously, that's from a margin standpoint, but the numbers get really out of whack at these higher numbers. So you can see 822 is a pretty low price. So we didn't even offer that, right? We came in at 910, right? that right, William?
Yeah, so we're in at 910 because initially, just a backstory on how we came at 910. They're originally asking 899, but the broker's agent said that we needed to be at ask or above. They weren't accepting anything lower, and based on our numbers, we felt that 910 was a comfortable number to start at.
Okay. Yeah, 910 is a comfortable number to start at. Yeah, so we're at 910, and so here's where it gets tricky. Typically, at this point, that you need to go ahead and write up the offer, right? Submit it at 910, 14-day close of escrow period, which is comfortable. But then you need an inspection period, right? So we have some time to tie this up, walk our investor through the property, and then, obviously remove contingencies when they say, hey, yeah, I'm ready to sign a deal, William, and I'm ready for my wire instructions, and I'm ready to wire my non-refundable deposit, and I'm ready to move forward. Then that's when we know, hey, Mr. Seller, Mr. Agent, we're all done here. We're ready to sign a contingency removal. This deal's done. And then we just sign the paperwork with our investor. They wire in their deposit, and your fee goes, the difference between what you put it under contract at 910, right, and what you sell it for, which our target's 940. That would be $30,000, and that would go on the buyer's side of the HUD, right? That's the name of the game. Where we just find ourselves in a pickle here now is the realtor says what we talked about in the beginning, right? They said, hey, we've been down this road. Seller's elderly. She wants to close. She wants to close by the 10th. That's 14 days. And she does not want to tie up the property again, right? Next offer she signs, she wants the buyer to know that they want it, right? She wants no contingencies in that, no contingency period, right?
Yeah.
So it really gives us two options, right? Number one is and I'll show you guys here in FlipLogic. Before I do that, I'm going to grab a couple of your questions here. Dell says, did I see 81.4% of ARV minus repairs? Yep, that's right. 78% of ARV minus repairs. That looks right. Let's see, 78% of ARV minus repairs. I think he's saying 78% is what he's thinking it should be at. I mean, obviously that's the lower the better, right? 78%. But that's about what we put it under contract for. So, we put it under we put it under contract at 910. So we're much closer to whatever that is. I could tell you if I put that in here. 910, 79%. So we put it at 79% of the ARV minus repairs. And we're looking to get somewhere between 910 and 940, with our target being 940. So I hope that helps. Let's see. All right, and then let's move on here. So the thing that we wanted to do, what we wanted to do to problem solve this, if we go to marketing, what's cool is once you put in all those numbers, it generates a marketing email for you. You have to type up a blurb. But this is, it's already in here for you. So all your numbers are there, the comps are there, that's all there, which is nice because now you can forward this on to your investors or email blast it to your investors, and they don't have to start from scratch. They can use what you've already done and what you have here, and then it makes it very easy for them to be interested in going to walk it. And then it just speeds up the whole process because investors, they can get bombarded with quite a bit of properties. So when they get an email a marketing email like this where it's all done for them. And sorry, this had just froze. I think I had a blurb in here. Did I have a property blurb? Maybe I didn't. I thought I did. But if they got a blurb already,
I don't know what happened.
yeah, I think I did. But yeah, if they have this all put together, then it makes it easy for them to make a decision on it quickly. So with that being said, so we have two choices, because you just got what did you say? You got an email or a phone call or a text from the agent saying they want to write this up?
Yeah, so they want to write it up. Sorry for noise. They want to write it up, but we need to get in and get our inspection with our contractors so they can know if they can go non-contingent, so they won't move forward to the second person in position.
Okay.
And
so
basically tonight, which is 7/10, but she'll text her and let her know, like, hey, this is what our appointment date would be to get in and walk it.
Got it. Let me see if I want to check and see if I got an email from that one investor we just emailed. I don't think so. I think that's going to be a little premature. So Williams put in a position on this one where two things. One, you either need to send this out. We sent it out to one investor today. I think you sent it to two. Did you send it to two investors? Did you get any feedback from your two investors?
I haven't. Once I hop off, I think we'll just do a personal phone call and be like, hey, you know.
Okay. So Williams so we've got two choices. One is don't tie it up yet. Send it out to a couple of guys you trust, right? A couple of investors you trust, and say, hey, I've got this property. Are you interested? And basically you want for them to say, yes, they're interested. They want to go see it. And then you have to go meet them at the property and obviously walk it with them and get their final number, right? Their non-contingent number. The ideal situation, what you want to do is, because it's listed, that makes it a little more difficult. If it was off market, it's not a big deal, right? Because it's on the market, it makes it more difficult. If you don't have it locked up under contract and you're, sending it to investors, you definitely can't email blast it out, because people just pick up the phone, call the agent, and they just went right around you. So you can't do that if it's on the market. Ideally, you want to, in this situation, you want to tie it up first. You want to put it under contract, blast it to your list or to a couple of guys, whatever you want to do, and get them over there, so you can go non-contingent. So that's kind of where you're at. If she's not going to let you put it under contract, as you're kind of in this catch-22. You can obviously tell her we didn't have a chance to go out and see it today. You can tell her we are interested. We do want it, write it up non-contingent, just subject to interior inspection, we'd like to get out there tomorrow. So that's the other thing you can do. Is tell her we want it. And if she can write it up non-contingent.
But if she writes it up non-contingent, subject to interior inspection, she may say, okay, well, if you guys are going to see it tomorrow, then we'll just write it up tomorrow. Right,
just go see it tomorrow and then call me back.
Yeah, because, we have to set an appointment to get on the inside of it anyway. So it couldn't just be an exterior drive-by. It has to be setting an appointment to get in to actually physically walk it. Because I think the lady still stays on the property.
Got it. Okay. All right. Then it puts you in a scenario where you just have to run it by your handful of guys. Ask them if the price works for them and if they want it. And then you would just got to go walk it with them tomorrow without the contract. She's just playing it. She's playing it high and tight. obviously, ideally, you'd want to say, you know what, let's go ahead and write it up. We'd like to know we've got it at the price, and then we'll go walk it tomorrow with our contractor.
Yeah, because I know because we have a signed offer in currently at the 19th, so we do have a signed offer on our end,
and they won't sign off on it,
and they won't. The seller
tell her to send the counter with no contingencies. Can they do that? Tell her to counter with all contingencies removed.
Okay. And then we will
or counter with the physical inspection contingency removed. So then that way you retain, in case something's funky with title.
Okay. You want to add it? If you add it into the notes, and I'll just pull it from there.
Yeah. So if you and there's this cool messaging system that you can have with your team, or if you're one of our platinum members, it goes right to us. But I can say, William, ask realtor for a counter offer with buyer removes physical inspection contingency.
Once we walk it.
Yeah, and just let her know. I mean, like I said, we just had a situation today where we had sent one of our contractors over to a property, and then the seller said they accepted another offer. You know what I mean? So I would just use that's what I was mentioning earlier. You can say, hey, could you please send over a counter just with the, physical inspection contingency removed. And then that way we'll get out there tomorrow with our contractor. Just let her know, we had gone and walked another one. By the time we set our contractor out, they accepted another offer, and they just, wasted everybody's time. So just ask her, is that possible? Can you do that? I'd really appreciate it, because it doesn't take them much effort to do that. And then we can get out there and then, get that counter offer accepted, should we move forward.
Sure.
And then hopefully it works at 940. And if not, then we can tell them why it doesn't, where we need to be at. We can always counter back. But there you have it.
Okay. Now, if they send it over tonight for us to sign and send back, will we be in position to have a contractor go out and walk it? Or a buyer's contractor go out, or an investor go out and walk it tomorrow?
Yes, you'll be in a position to do that. Obviously, I'm not the guy who's going to go out and walk it. So to answer your question, does that put you in a position to do that? Yes, because now you've got control, right? Now you've got control. You've got the ball because they've signed the counter. You've got the counter. Now we can accept the counter, right? And then we're under contract. You can still always cancel from there. So it would be good if we get that, if we accept it, we're under contract. Yes, there's no contingency on that, but it still gives us 3 days to put in the deposit, doesn't it? Because we have 72 hours to put in the deposit. You can still cancel within that time period and let them know it doesn't work. Or you can still come back and say, hey, we did walk it, and here's the feedback, whatever it is. If it still gives us the ability to negotiate or cancel if needed.
Okay, I was just curious who we had. Like, for example, if they, because it'll be the agents who would be signing the counter, accepting the counter. It wouldn't be the actual seller who would be.
No, it would be the seller, unless the seller says the agent can sign on their behalf.
Okay, so I got to figure that out. Okay, so that's fine. Just I know when they went to present to the seller, they just wanted to have something solid to present to the seller, saying, hey, this is, you know, the other offer didn't work. This is where we're at. This person is ready to go.
Yeah. But they can still say, hey, you can still say, hey, we're solid, but we do need a signed counter to get our contractor out there. Right?
Yes, correct. Okay.
But I get it. They're trying to sell you on, no, you get out here first and then we'll sign. Right? But you can counter that back and say, please send a signed counter so we know we have a deal, right? And tell them you can counter to remove all buyer contingencies, right? Or to remove that contingency, the physical inspection contingency. Please send us the counter for that so you know you have a solid offer with us. We would like to have that so we can get our contractor out there so we don't we don't end up going out there and hearing that you accepted another offer. Does that make sense? It's a very valid argument.
No, it definitely makes sense. Okay, so then it's just on our end to find someone to go out who's interested to walk the property and see if it works for them.
Yeah. Well, now you can definitely pursue it. You can definitely pursue it more aggressively, can't you? One, you can email market blast it to buyers. Two, you can pick up the phone and call them and say, hey, I've got this hot deal. I just emailed it over to you. Take a look. Can you get out there today and see it? If so, the deal's yours. So one, we just pulled one up, didn't we? From Q Properties LLC.
Yeah.
You could call them right now too. You could call them up, ask them if they're interested and they want to go see it tomorrow. I have the other guy I have one guy who's interested. He just thought it needed court confirmation. I updated them, but I haven't heard back. But yes, it gives us the ability to get people out there tomorrow.
Okay, so I guess time frame. What time? I know mornings wouldn't work. Because if they do get it back to us, then we won't have enough time to be able to work it. So maybe look at doing something at like 2 or 3.
Yeah, that's the target that we can ask for. Obviously, we gotta ask the investors and their contractors. We're going based off their schedule.
That's true.
And I'm not a mind reader, but all we can do is let them know we have this tied up and we need them over there, ASAP to tell us if they want it. And like I said, it gives you the ability to save face because she's countering back, buyer removes the physical contingency, and it still gives us time to get our contractor out there. Because obviously you're letting her know, hey, we haven't gone out there yet. I need something in writing before I can get them out there.
Okay, so we'll do remove contingencies, and then do and just do the offer still at the 910, and then just see if she can get that back over to me tonight, or at least get it signed by the broker and to the seller tomorrow. And then she can present that to the seller saying, hey, they're removing their contingencies, and they're coming in at 910, and they can complete
right.
by the 10th.
Right.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. Like I said, then it allows you to save face too, because before you can, get your team out there, you need something in writing. You need that counter. You need that counter so you can get your team out there.
Sure.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it definitely does. What is the confidence level with the 940? Do you think it'll move at 940?
What is my confidence level? What's your confidence level?
I guess looking at what sold recently over there, it has a view. I mean, the ARV on it is 1.2. I mean, I think it's going to be anywhere between 940 and maybe 9. I think someone's gonna come back like and said I can do like 935, 930.
Here's where you still have wiggle room is once your contractor does go out there, your investor does get out there.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't, if they say the 125 is not going to fly, they think they're going to underwrite at 112, and they think their construction costs are going to be 100,000. I don't know. I'm just saying worst case scenario. If you get squeezed at both ends, right, and they tell you they need it at 900, I'm just going worst case scenario. It still gives you the ability to say, hey, listen, our contractor went through there. We're done. We're ready to wire in the non-refundable deposit, right? Right. Mm-hmm. But we found that, just the costs that we, underwrote from our desktop and what we found the lot to be, right? We don't think we're going to get the 125 we were thinking. We think it's going to cost us more than the 77,000 we're estimating. And because of that, I got to be at 880. So that's the bad news. But the good news is we're all done. We can, the seller wants to close by the 10th. We can close by the 10th. But the fact of the matter is, it's just we don't have the garage. It's going to cost us more than what we thought. Our exit price isn't going to be as much as we thought it was going to be. So, if you've had a hard time trying to sell it at whatever price you've been trying to now, those are the reasons why. But good news, we didn't waste any time. We can wrap this up at 880 right now.
Yeah, I think that's definitely your approach. And then just the way on the side of caution. I know since they were fighting at the, was it 890 or 899 or something like that, or whatever it was.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just bottom line, you have to be aggressive, right? And it's either if you don't grab the contract, you're not going to get the deal anyway, are you?
No.
So this gives you the ability to get it into contract, to have the ability to a path to move forward, to have control, to get your investors out there, for them to be able to give you the proper feedback, right, and a non-contingent price, to be in a position where they can then wire a non-refundable deposit. And you asked me how confident do I feel at 940. Honestly, I don't know. I've never been to the property and I don't know what their final costs are going to be, but you will be able to get that number now, and then you can still save face because you will be able to explain it that way, right? You'll be able to let her know. Hopefully it'll just be, hey, we walked it. It's all good. We're ready to go. No changes, no nothing needed. It was all what we thought it was, right? And then if it's not, you just have to be able to convey that to where, like I just mentioned, right? I got good news and I got bad news. That's the classic approach.
Got it. Okay.
And then it gives them the ability to think now they can get more, or to go, yeah. And you've been in this situation many times, a lot of times sellers will go, yeah, obviously we're trying to get as much as we can and we're overshooting it. And this is not unfamiliar feedback we've gotten, right?
Yeah, it's definitely a situation we've been in before.
Right. So bottom line, the easiest thing is you got to put yourself in a position to move forward, and then this will give you the contract, the ability to get your people in, and then the ability to do a simple addendum to change the price if needed, or cancel if they don't want to. But hopefully we don't have to. Sound good? I'm going to just take a look at the chat board, see if anybody else has any other questions. I know we've been going on here. Anybody else have any other questions? Kenneth says, would you be interested in for sale by owner already rehab? Kenneth, a FSBO already rehabbed. Let me ask you a question to your question. Where's the money in that deal then? Because if it's already rehabbed, it sounds like it's retail. There's no what you would call value add. There's no value add play, right? In order to add value to make money, there's got to be some sort of value add play there. And it looks like the value's already been added in improvements, right? So, and we're all on this show tonight on this webinar because this is about, making a profit on turning houses as opposed to, buying retail. So I hope that answers your question. If anybody else has any other questions, get them in because we're going to wrap it up here. We're coming up on the hour mark. So William, does that help you? You know what to do. Get your counter, and then let's put it out.
Yeah, it does. So I'll send a response to her once we end this, and let her know kind of where we're at. To see what she says coming back, so she can at least let her broker know, where we stand. Like, hey, we're going to remove contingencies. Send over a counter to that so we can sign it and get it back to you. Get the seller to sign, and then we just have to aggressively market tomorrow.
Yep, or even start tonight.
Yeah.
So we just need the contract, the signature on it.
Yeah, I don't know if we're going to be able to get the seller's signature tonight.
Okay.
Because
well, you never know. The seller may allow her to sign on her behalf. But yeah, just ask the agent. Hey, I need a signed counter. Buyer removes physical inspection contingency. I need that signed so I can get my contractor out there tomorrow.
Okay, then I'll ask her that. And then should I just pose the question, or is she able to? If the broker is able to sign on the seller's behalf?
No, she'll figure that out.
Oh, okay.
I would just ask her, how quick, is that, can you go ahead and, this is the counter I need to get my team out there tomorrow. How soon can you get that back to me?
Okay.
Sounds good. I see Kenneth says I can share the profits. I know the seller. I guess, Kenneth, my question to you would be, have you added the lead to FlipLogic? Have you put it in? Have you ran comps? What's the play here? What's the property worth? And then what can we buy it for? So, do you know what the comps are? Have you looked at the comps to support the value? Let me ask you that. Yes. Okay. And it's already what's the ARV? What could you put it on the MLS for and sell it for today? So while Kenneth is, I guess, getting back to me on that, 1.4. Okay, and then what is it? And so you're sure it's 1.4? You obviously been on the call. You can see how when you get above $1 million, things can change, right? Whether there's a view or no view, or there's a pool or no pool. So is that 1.4 supported? Like that's solid? He says yes. Okay. What's the seller's story? Why did they want to sell? And how much? What's the best price they'll do? What's their bottom number? And with that being said, we'll see what he says. And then what you should do, Kenneth, is just add the lead to FlipLogic. Make sure your numbers are right. And then generate a proof of funds, generate an offer, purchase contract right out of FlipLogic, and then, submit the offer to the seller, put it under contract. So Kenneth, I guess, is figuring that out, but that's what I would do, man. If it doesn't need any improvements and you're sure it doesn't need any improvements, then again, put those numbers in, put a goose egg for the repair costs, and then see what, an investor is still going to want about a 10% return on that. Even with the goose egg, they're going to want to just buy it and sell it on the MLS and make their 10%, just not have to do any construction work. but see what that max rehab price would be, and then know that you've got to put it under contract at a margin below that. And I would say give yourself at least a $20,000 margin below that. I hope that helps. And then, like I said, you can generate proof of funds, well, you'll need to be a subscriber if you're not, but then you can generate, if you're a gold subscriber, a silver subscriber, you can run the lead regardless on the bronze plan. But then if you want to generate proof funds, generate an offer, tie this deal up and make some money, you're gonna need to definitely be a member. You got to pay to play on generating proof funds and getting that done. So I hope that helps. I guess before we wrap up, I'm going to see if anybody else has any other questions before we go. Let's see. Daphne asked, as is. I think Kenneth was saying, yeah, it was already improved as is. Brian wanted his email added to our buyers list, so we'll do that for Brian. And Kenneth says, yes, I'll work on it. As the property William are talking about, was it found on your system? Our system does look at FSBO and MLS listings, but obviously that's not everything. Under the direct mail resources here, you can buy a list from any of these sources, and then you can set up your letter. This is a proven letter that we like to use because it's proven. It's generated, just look at my 40 case study closings. A lot of those deals, especially the highest margin deals, were all generated from yellow letters going out to motivated sellers. So you can take this template, put in your own contact info, and send it out through yellowletters.com. You just need a motivated seller list. You can generate leads that way. But William, give us some context on where your lead came from.
So I'm a little, I guess, for me, I'm a little old fashioned. So I drive a lot. I drive a lot for dollars, because I like to be out. And then I interact with a lot of agents. I get a list of open houses in particular areas, and I just hit open houses. So I build strong relationships with real estate agents, and they refer me deals. I kind of let them know what my criteria for purchasing is, and I say, hey, I'm looking for fixers. I'm looking for things that need a lot of work. I'm looking for things that are probates without court confirmation, preferably. So I just kind of always put out what I'm looking for, and also I become, a walking billboard for the product. I'm always in marketing mode. I'm always promoting. I'm always telling people what I do. So it's,
Yeah.
I'm known in the streets. You buy houses, like, because I'm always out. I mean, I don't
Gotcha.
care if I'm in the supermarket or wherever. It's, I let everyone know. So
I love it. Yeah, no, definitely. There's nothing wrong with driving for dollars. Driving for dollars, door knocking. There's only a couple of ways to do it. Driving for dollars, door knocking, sending out letters to a motivated seller list, right? To do a yellow letter campaign, or leveraging the phone and calling on a motivated sellers list. So those are some of the ways to do it initially. And then you've got for sale by owners, on Craigslist and Zillow. And then you've got stuff that's listed on the MLS, which is obviously a little more challenging because you're going to be competing against rehabbers, against those properties who can pay the max rehab price, and you need to obviously get it at a wholesale price in order to make the margin. So that's why I say some of the biggest margin deals is properties that are unlisted. They're off market. Let's see.
Just a quick heads
Yeah.
up, Ryan. Like when you look on Zillow or when you look on Craigslist for sale by owner, really read the verbiage because
Mm-hmm.
sometimes other wholesalers will be marketing properties as if they're their properties, and then you
Right.
call them, and it's a waste of your time. Um,
Yeah.
so really read the verbiage. Really look at the number that's at the bottom, because sometimes you will see an ad for a for sale by owner, and you scroll to the bottom to get the for sale by owner's number, and it's the same number that may be on 3 or 4 different ads. They just have multiple properties that they're marketing through those platforms. So just a heads up on that.
Gotcha. Yeah. Well noted. Good to know. Very true. Yes. You definitely want to be dealing with direct to consumer, direct to seller. I mean, that's the best way to go. So, all right. Well, I think that's everybody's questions. Dale added MLS not the way at this time. Yep. I mean, again, your best deals are going to be stuff that's off market, unlisted. Nobody else knows about it. Because when everybody knows about it, it's, this one's on the MLS, but again, it's you can still do deals on the MLS. It's just, it's, you can tell how we've had to navigate a little bit more. It becomes a little more tricky. Stuff does get overlooked, or mispriced, falls out of escrow. They do get tired. They get frustrated. The advantage when you put a deal under contract and you run the numbers like what we did, right? We put it in a marketing template and email, which supports the value. We've got comps, we've got numbers, ROI, percentage, buy price, and we put that out there to our investors. It's top of mind, top of list. We get them interested. We can also follow up with a phone call, really get them interested, get them over there, and then and then they know too, the investors, the reason why they like dealing with us as a wholesaler is because they know that they're not throwing an offer against the wall against 10 other offers. They know that this deal's locked up, and if they jump on it, that it can be theirs. And one thing you always want to make sure that you do is that if they tell you your numbers are off, or that your repair costs are too low, your ARV is too high, you can just say, hey, that's okay. Maybe my numbers are off. I didn't walk it. I think I comped it and supported it pretty well. Here's why. This property has a view from the backyard. The other one doesn't. I think our number's pretty solid, but you tell me what price would work for you. And is that your non-contingent price? If so, I'll go to work. I'll go to work to make sure I can see if I can deliver it at that price for you. But you just want to make sure you put them in check and make sure that they're not trying to lowball you either. So that's why you definitely want to do like what we did. Know your numbers, know the comps, so they can't BS you also. Or maybe not BS you, but they just be over conservative, because let's face it, everybody likes to be conservative on their numbers. Nobody wants to overpay or have to stretch and reach to make their profit. So yeah, good communication, and always follow up with what price would work for you. So I hope that helps. With that being said, thanks everybody for being here. This was a great time. Please be back here if you'd like next Monday at 6:30 p.m. and I'll see you all then. Thanks, William. Appreciate you sharing the deal there and letting us work through it with you.
All right, no problem. Thank you guys.
All right, everybody. All right, good night.